shit done in Lansing, and you know, I'm here with all of you. This is why I'm doing it, is because of every one of you here in this room. So please support the campaign and join us along the ride. You know, just, yeah. I don't know if I feel like we covered it all. So that's my closing statement, is that we really can get some great things done that matters to everyone here if we pull the resources together and do it.
I'm Natalie Price. I'm a state representative. I'm currently running for the Senate New District 10, which in Macomb includes the western half of Warren and Centerline. Before being a state representative, I was on Berkeley City Council, and before that I was a high school English teacher. And I lead the way that I showed up in the classroom, making sure that I'm taking care of the students, the people who need the most help. And I delivered on that. In my first term as a state representative, half of my district was Northwest Detroit. And I showed up for the community. It was the part of the district I knew the least. I live in Berkeley, I was on Berkeley City Council, but I showed up in Northwest Detroit. Community conversations at the Mathis Center on Greenfield, getting investments into the Detroit Public Schools, to the Foreign Language Immersion Community Center, to Coleman Young Elementary, and to Oak Park Community Center, learning about the needs of the community and showing up to bring resources back to the areas that need the most help. And that's how I will continue to operate in the state Senate.
Thank you. Your first question, as we know, there's a lot of issues that we need to tackle. What should be Michigan's top spending priority over the next budget cycle?
So I serve on appropriations in the House, and I found it was very important to be serving both on appropriations, the money out of the budget, and tax policy, paying attention to the money in. The top spending buckets for the state of Michigan are healthcare and education, as they should be. Those are our biggest responsibilities. There are better ways to fund both of those things and to more fully and more equitably fund those things. So healthcare, I'm a proud champion of single-payer healthcare, which we would need to do a graduated, fair, taxing the rich to make that happen in Michigan. We could provide less or more, we could provide more healthcare, we could provide healthcare to everyone while paying less per person by getting rid of the for-profit insurance companies and having the state pay for those services. But we would need to bring in those resources equitably, raising the corporate income tax, taxing people fairly so that everyone could have health care. That should be the top priority, and we could fund that fairly. Similarly with the schools, we've been underfunding our schools by $4.5 billion a year for 20 years, and it shows. And the only way to fully fund our schools fairly, equitably, is with a graduated income tax. We all pay this federally, most states do it. Let's tax the very wealthiest. The brackets I have in my office, your taxes would only go up if you make $560,000 a year or more. Otherwise, your taxes would go down, and we could provide what we need for everyone.
Thank you.
Road and infrastructure.
Yes.
Well, I sure love my tires right now. No, I need some new ones. Oh, Lord, here we go. So, Michigan drivers continue to express concerns about road conditions. How would you propose paying for long-term road improvements?
I hear about this a lot on the doors. People are very frustrated, especially with their local roads. And I know that we have a governor who ran and campaigns a lot on fixing the damn roads. What people don't often realize is she's talking about the state highways and byways and bridges, and she has put a lot of investments in those. But what we are all impacted by the most is the local roads, which are the responsibility of the local units of government, which have also been underfunded by the states. Michigan is one of the worst states in the country in terms of municipal revenue sharing. Getting those resources to our cities and counties so that they can maintain that local infrastructure. So I think that we need people who have served in local government, who know how hard it is to balance a city budget without the funding from the state, and will advocate consistently in the municipal caucus in Lansing for more constitutional revenue sharing for our local units of government to take care of our local infrastructure.
Thank you. Your next question is regarding public safety. What should the legislature do to improve public safety while maintaining accountability for law enforcement?
Yeah, and this is, again, for me, a lot of these things come down to funding. We've been underfunding our cities, and a huge part of the city's budget in every city is public safety, is police and fire and EMS, as it should be. But when our cities are not getting the resources that they need from the state government, those services suffer. So again, coming from local government, understanding the importance of those services in our cities and advocating for more funding for those services is incredibly essential. I also just want to take a moment. You will see a lot of my direct-to-cameras, a lot of my messaging, and in fact, just this morning I was being interviewed by CBS Detroit about my position on flock surveillance and about cooperation with ICE. And I think everybody in this room understands, but I just want to make it crystal clear, right? ICE and Border Patrol are not about public safety. They are not about safety in our communities. And their increased presence and intimidation in our communities is making us all less safe. So yes, we need to be speaking out against ICE, and I've sponsored bills that would make it so that they can't mask in our communities, that they can't operate in sensitive locations like polling locations and hospitals and schools and places of worship. We need to do what Minneapolis did, which is stand up and say, ICE is not welcome here, you make the community safe, and to be investing meaningfully in our public safety, our police and fire that are right here, tasked with keeping our community safe.
We'll do one more question and then a lightning round question. So, government transparency. What reforms would you support to improve transparency and public trust in the state government?
Boy, for sure, that first answer. But I'll also take a moment to tell you about the BRIGHT Act in the Michigan State Legislature. This one was posed last term when we had a Democratic trifecta. It did not get across the finish line. I was proud to co-sponsor it, and I will continue to champion it. It requires 527s and 501c4s. Those are those foundations where dark money is often funneled through that are affiliated with state officials to be registered with the Secretary of State. It would update the gift rules to match our executive branch standards. And it would strengthen the Bureau of Elections enforcement over real-time campaign finance violations. And part of that BRIGHT Act is also a ban on legislators becoming lobbyists right away. It would give us a two-year cooling off period so that while we're currently serving, we're not just looking and positioning ourselves for a job in the Lansing lobby world. I also, this revolving door makes it tough in terms of being able to trust your reps, especially with term limits, that they're not just looking at the next opportunity. So I fully support making sure that we are getting rid of those conflicts of interest, that we need to fully disclose conflicts of interest, and we do what we can to level the playing field so that we're not looking and positioning for the next job.
Thank you. So this next question is a lightning round question. So it's supposed to be answered in 30 seconds. I don't know if we told you guys that. So this question is interesting because we've asked other candidates about compromise. And we asked them would they not compromise. But this question asks you, what is one issue where compromise is actually essential?
I like it.
Take a moment.
So, I have a reputation in Lansing as being effective, and I'm proud of it. And part of that is staying in the room and being a team player and working with my caucus, my Democratic caucus, looking ahead at what is next. And there are some things that were mentioned here today, right? Human rights, corporate influence that we can't compromise. I need to be able to sleep at night. But I do care strongly about compromising when we can without doing harm to our fundamental values, to find the commonalities, find the places where we can work together to move the needle forward. And that will continue to be part of how I lead in Lansing. I worked in a bipartisan way on city council. I have now all of my legislation that I've sponsored this term has been bipartisan. I have to be able to be in the room with people who I disagree with on many other things in order to work with them to build out a coalition to move the needle forward on our most essential values that we're fighting for.
Thank you.
Thank you. First of all, I'm in my 28th year as an elected official. I did it the hard way. I started on school board, then I served on city council, and then I served as a county commissioner before running for Senate. In the knowledge that you gain serving at the local level and understanding how the money flows from the state, where it doesn't flow, where the problems are, I don't think we have enough people serving at the state level that have done that and have that knowledge. I'd like to continue. My priorities have been for the last 4 years, we pay taxes to the state, bring it back home to these urban communities because we've been left out for a long time. Thank you.
I will repeat the question for you. Should Michigan change how it funds K through 12 schools? If so, how?
Well, we actually have changed the formula recently in the budget, something that I think the Democrats have been working towards for a long time. We're going to a weighted formula that puts money in the hands of the areas that need it, people with special needs, kids that are behind in reading, that sort of thing. So we've made some bold moves in the last couple of years that I think will bear, specifically this year, but I think will bear fruit in the future. And we've also invested significantly more in attracting and retaining our teachers.
Thank you. Question for you, Ms. Kleinfeld. On economic development, what policies would you support to help small businesses grow while keeping Michigan competitive?
So when I got into the Senate, I think that the focus was in the wrong place. The focus was on big mega businesses, and the first year I'm like, I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm just following what everybody's been doing, and that to me has been a major failure. If we're going to take money, a pot of money, and invest in businesses, we need to invest in the local businesses where the owners live here and spend their money here and shift what our priorities are. And that's the direction I would go with that.
Okay, so the question, I'll repeat it again. What reforms would you support to improve transparency and public trust in state government?
The legislature and the executive office should be subject to FOIA the same as having served locally, if I use my personal phone for business for text messages, and my son was in this situation, there was a lawsuit, they took his phone, they went through it. They only pulled out what was business related for the records to give to the attorneys. But why don't we have the same rules as everybody else has to? So that's number one. And I'll touch on the campaign expenditures. But if I get a check, it goes into my campaign account. It's reported, and how I spend every penny is also reported. And each and every one of you can go online and look that up. Thank you.
Access to mental health services remains a challenge across the state of Michigan. What legislative solutions would you prioritize?
Thank you. There are a couple. First of all, there was 30 years of disinvestment, right? So we have a lot of work to do. We have put a significant amount of money in mental health money for local school districts. But barring having cash for everything, the other thing is we need to follow some of the folks in Europe and recognize what the internet and what these programs are doing to these kids and what it's doing to their mental state. And I say we need to start putting in restrictions the same that they're willing to do in other countries to protect our children. Thank you. First, I'd like to say, unlike some other races, I felt like this has been a very civil race between the two of us, and I very much appreciate it. We do have one individual individual that didn't show up today. I'm just providing a fact, not speaking negatively, but that individual has always run Republican previously. So when you look at the ballot, take a look at two names, just kind of disregard the third one.
Is that part of your 1 minute? Are you done?
Anyway, we've worked hard to build investment in the community. I have the best constituent relations person to help members of the community. I cannot speak enough for my staff. I hope that you will keep me around to continue to provide those services. Thank you.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Good evening. As mentioned, my name is Kimberly Fisher, and I am running for state rep, in the 11th House District. This is going to be Southern Warren, so from about 10 Mile to 6 Mile in Northeast Detroit. In Warren, we're running from Hayes to DeQuinter, and on the Detroit side, from John R. to Gratiot. A little bit about me: my family's lived in this district for over 100 years, and I know that you guys have heard this a couple times. But for everyone that's new, I'm also a small business owner. I'm the owner of Lily's and Elise Tea House. I've been in small business since about the age of 25 is when I started my first business. My family migrated from the South into Detroit District 3, and I'm running for affordability. Unfortunately, it's too hard for those of us who are middle class to afford to live in our city, in our state of Michigan. Our DTE is too high, our water bills are too high, and we're seeing, truthfully, a breakdown within the family and within the Democratic Party, and I'm here to be a part of the change. So regardless of what you guys may have heard about me out here in Warren, I can assure you that it's all false. I will address it later. But the most important thing is I'm here for the people. I'm here for the people of Macomb, the people of Wayne, the people of Michigan, the people of the United States, because we're seeing a breakdown from the federal level, and it's impacting us on every level of government, and we need more people to stand up who are interested in bringing us together than tearing us apart. Thank you.
All right, so thank you for the introduction. You just mentioned in your intro that you are running for affordability. Could you answer this question? What can the legislature realistically do, to make Michigan more affordable for working families?
That's a great question. In addition to working families, I think all families, especially those who own small businesses, we need to see some utility reform. A couple weeks ago, I was without power for 5 days. At my business, I lost $22,000 in inventory and food, but also in costs that I need to pay my team. At my home, I also lost my entire refrigerator. We saw that DTE only offered us $42 for this power outage, this blackout of sorts that we had. DTE needs to be held accountable, and we need to see more pressure on the Michigan Public Service Commission in regards to what they're legally allowed to do to residents and constituents. Also, for the Great Lakes Water Authority, we need to see more cuts for people who can't afford their water. Water is a human right, in my opinion, just like air. And unfortunately, if we don't have it, we're not going to be here, respectfully. So for me, I want to see more utility reform. I also want to see more property tax kickbacks for people who are property owners. Right now, especially on the Detroit side, we have some of the highest property tax in the state, and we need to see reform for that as well. So I'm out of time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's talk about housing, since you brought that up. Affordable housing continues to be a concern throughout southeastern Michigan.
Yes.
What role should state government play?
Well, I believe that state government should work